All right, guys, welcome to this live stream. My name is Moses Obarisi. I'm your host, and welcome to this special live stream. So I've dropped a lot of scholarship videos on this channel since when this channel was founded till date. But today we're going to be doing something different. And what is it that we're going to be doing? We're going to be looking at documents that every international student or every scholarship applicant ought to have for them to be able to apply for scholarship or for their studies abroad to be easy or for them to win a scholarship award without much stress. So those are the things that we're going to be looking at in today's live stream. So I'll just drop a list of them, then we'll review it one after the other. Now, why is it that we need documents? Remember that we are going there to study. And for everything that has to do with study, for everything that has to do with legality, there are documents that you must need as a person or an individual. Hence, the reason why we are putting out this video, or the reason why we're putting out this live stream. So the first on our list is our travel passport, or popularly referred to as international passport in most cases, but you can also call it travel passport. So why is this document, why is it this important, or why is it needed? So I'll just flash mine here on the camera. This is mine, but I think I will turn my light a little. So this is mine here. You can see mine here. So you can see mine here. The light is too bright, so you may not be able to see, but you can see it over here. This is my own passport. So why do we need this passport? Let me take us back to our normal light that we were using before. Oh, okay. Now, why do we need this passport? We need this simply because this is where our travel visa will be stamped on. You need it because this is what will tell the country or the nation that you are traveling to as an international student. This is what will tell that nation that this is whom you are, or this is your identity. So this is what will tell them your identity, hence the reason why you need a passport. So, and in my own opinion, I would say this should be the number one thing every international student should have before even this should be the number one thing number one document every international student should have before applying for a scholarship. So not a transcript, not a standardized test, not a recommendation letter first, not a personal statement or motivation letter, not a CV, not a sample of a message to be sent to a professor, especially if you are going in for a postgraduate study. In my own opinion, your passport is the first document that you must pursue to have, or pursue to acquire, or pursue to own, especially if you do not already have one before. So why another thing that we should have our passport first? Now there are some nations that when you are going to those nations, they don't accept, uh, let me say, a very tender passport. Let me use that word. What do I mean by tender? A postgraduate study. In my own opinion, your passport. Now, why? What do I mean when I say tender passport? There are countries that when you are going there for a study, maybe you just did the passport in January 2023, like today is the 6th day of January 2023 now. So maybe let's assume that you got your passport today, Friday, 6th of January 2023, and you send maybe by the 30th of January or 28th. Okay, 30th, which is Monday. 30th of January is Monday. You send in your passport for stamping. There are countries that would not agree to stamp a visa for you on that passport. The reason will not be that you are not qualified to study there, but their own rules, our immigration rules do not allow for such to stamp such a very tender passport. So majority of countries, they will actually want it that your passport have stayed some time, maybe possibly 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. So another thing that can also be the reason behind this is that they might see it that maybe you committed a crime, so you are looking for a backyard means to abscond from your home country to another country, all in the name of education. So is the reason why a lot of countries do not accept the stamping of visa on very tender passport. So as an international student, be it a scholarship applicant or a self-funded international student, you should consider having your passport as early as possible. It should be the first thing you must do. And passport validity is usually between 5 years and 10 years, though it varies from country to country. So there are countries whereby the maximum validity of one passport is 5 years, or that's 10 years. Like in my own country, we have passport validity of either 5 years or 10 years. However, the one of 10 years is more expensive compared to the one of 5 years. So that's for passport. Then the second one is your transcript. Now, what's your transcript? Your transcript is a document officially written by your university to ascertain that you studied a particular course for a duration of particular year, either an undergraduate course or a master's course or a PhD course. That is, maybe if you are going for a postdoc, you need your doctoral transcript or your PhD transcript. Now, that you studied this particular discipline for X number of years or for Y number of years, these are the courses that you took during your study of that discipline. These are the grades that you have in them. So it breaks down everything that you did within the duration of you studying that undergraduate discipline, postgraduate discipline, or postgraduate, master's, or PhD discipline that you did. So it breaks everything down. The description of the course code, if you had good grades in them or you have bad grades, your performance, a transcript spells it out. So if you are moving with, maybe you submitted your degree result or your degree certificate, to be more specific, your degree certificate, and maybe there is kind of no much clarity in your degree certificate, your transcript try to break everything down into a bit by bit or format by format in which can be explained without ambiguity, because your graduation CGPA is also outlined in your transcript. So that's what is there. Then transcripts are majorly of two types. We have what we call the student transcript, and we also have what we call the official transcript. Now, the student transcript is both contains the same thing, but what is just there is that one is given to the student and is known as a student copy, while the second one is given to the institution that requests the transcript or that wants to verify the number of years that these students took the particular course or particular discipline or the particular program he claims to have completed within the duration or X or Y number of years in that course. So that's the second one. So that's for a student who may have not had an institution that he or she is applying to directly. Maybe you have a numerous institution in your wish list. What you should do is you go for the student copy. So when you are applying to these various institutions, the student copy is now what you submit. You submit a soft copy of it to these various institutions. So when these various institutions now request that you submit an official copy, that's when you now contact your university to get you what? To get you an official transcript that will be sent directly to this university that have requested this transcript. So that's the goal of a transcript. Then the next on the list is your degree certificate. Now, like I said, your degree certificate and your transcript, they look similar. But the difference between your transcript and your degree certificate is that your transcript roots the number of years you spent in that program, the number of total courses, total course units and credit units that you took in that program, the course codes, the course descriptions, everything, the grade you got in those courses, it spells all of those ones out. And the graduating CGPA in which the student graduated with, your transcript spell of all of those ones out. But meanwhile, your degree certificate only itemizes items such as the name of the institution you graduated from, the discipline you studied, or the course or the program you studied, then maybe the mood of the program, in some cases your matriculation number, then your photograph, which depends, it varies from one university to the other, your photograph, then the class of graduation, and maybe of course the date the degree was awarded. So those are the few things that your degree certificate, those are the few items in which it covers. And also, apart from that, your degree certificate now sounds like a validation to your transcript, while your transcript also serves as a validation to your degree certificate. So these two documents, they work side by side, or they are like brothers and sisters that are complementing each other. For instance, your degree certificate can be saying that you graduated with grade A, and your transcript will be referring that you graduated with grade B. In such case, there is no alignment, there is no uniformity between the two. So it will call for questioning. So that's for degree certificate. Then the third item is what we call a recommendation letter. Now, why a recommendation letter? Why is it needed? What we say recommendation letter, what are we talking about? We're talking about an individual who have known you, and not just an individual. In most cases, majority of universities will like it to be your previous school lecturer. Maybe if you are going for an undergraduate course, they will request that the person who will issue you this recommendation letter should be your high school teacher, or a senior school representative in your high school. Now, why they request? They want this person to comment on your character, to comment on your ability, to comment on your knowledge, on your knowledge strength. This person is good in this, he's good in this. He participated during his course of his study as a high school or college high school student. This is what he's good in. He's good in sports, he's good in dance, he's good in culture, he's good in research, he's good in punctuality. So your recommendation is written along this line. This is his character. He is honest, he is kind, he can work with little or no supervision. So your recommendation letter is tailored along that line. Then maybe if you are applying for a postgraduate course now, which is basically master's, PhD, and postdoc, your recommendation letter is tailored along your research strength and capability, your honesty, your integrity, and how your performance was during your undergraduate studies. Now, your recommendation letter while applying for a postgraduate program or postgraduate studies is usually written by any of your lecturer that worked with you or you worked with during your undergraduate days. Now, your project supervisor should do best in referencing you or any lecturer that you think you had a close relationship with or who knows much about you should be the one to what to give you a reference towards what towards this. So his reference should be along this item that I've mentioned: character and personality, honesty, which is honesty and integrity. Then this individual can work with little or no supervision. This individual is good in research or he's interested in research. He seeks to know more. He's willing to learn whenever correction is given. He takes correction and he's willing to grow or is open to learning. So your recommendation, which is also known as reference letter in some university, they call it reference letter, or some institution call it reference letter. So it's the same thing as recommendation letter. It should be tailored along what along that line. So that's the role of a recommendation letter. So when the institution you are applying to, when they receive this recommendation letter or reference letter, then I begin to, okay, this is what this person can do, this is his ability. If his school that he worked with, that he schooled with 4 years can say this about him, I think this is an individual that we can trust, we can work with, we can admit to be our student. So that's what a recommendation letter or a reference letter, that's what it does. So it kind of limits the stress that you're supposed to go through, maybe through the screening stage or the screening phase. Maybe when numerous admissions are there, but if your recommendation letter is strong and powerful enough, you may not need to go through a lot of screening and interviews anymore. So that's for recommendation letter. Then the next is a personal statement. In some institutions refer to it as a motivation letter. So what is a personal statement and what is a motivation letter? Now, okay, I will touch 3 items. We have personal statement, we have motivation letter, and we have statement of purpose. Now, the 3 of them are closely related in one way or the other. However, let me build them in one like this. And let me build 2 and take the other one as a different item. Let me take personal statement and motivation letter. So personal statement, you are talking about a little about your past, a little about your present, and a little about your future. That's academically. The course you are intending to study, why do you want to study the course? Is it because it's easy? Is it because it's hard? Is it because you want to make a research in that field? Is it because it wants to contribute to your career? Is it because you want to pursue a career for there in that line in the future? Is it because you are interested in what in being an authority in that field also? So these are the few things that you write about in a personal statement. However, you don't make a personal statement is usually between 500 words to 1000 words, though it varies between from one institution to another. So but it's usually between this gap between 500 to 1000 words. In some cases, some institutions can even tell you to submit maybe 400 words or a 450 words motivation or personal statement, motivation letter or personal statement. So that's what a personal statement or letter of motivation is. What gave you the drive that you want to study this course? Is it that people are studying it and you also want to study it, or you have had a flair for it for a long time? You saw people working in that field and it interests you that you also want to work in that field as well. So all of those things are what you put out there to what as an international student to what to convince the university that you are worthy for them to be admitted. So that's what's there. Then the next is a statement of purpose. So when we say statement of purpose, like the name states, your purpose, state it. The reason why you are coming here. Now, statement of purpose is now more in depth. Let me say it has more depth compared to motivational letter and personal statement. Now, how does it have more depth? Because you are talking about how the research statement of purpose is more for those who are pursuing master studies, PhD or doctoral studies, as well as postdoctoral studies. Now, you are stating the kind of research you want to come and do. Maybe this will include your topic, how you intend to carry out your research, the nature of research you want to carry out, what can be the possible things that could hinder you, uh, those things that could be hindrance, how do you intend to overcome them? So that's what a statement of purpose is like, a template. Statement of purpose is like a template for your research that you are going to carry out in that foreign institution or in that foreign university. So that's what you must also you must be very intentional about. You must have to do a lot of research that if it's possible, you give it to somebody who is higher than you to help you edit, to help you criticize, and where possible that there are mistakes, you request that he or she corrects you. So that's what a statement of purpose is. It's like a template for your research, everything, every subtopic about your research, how you intend to how you intend to fulfill it, and you also include a little thing about how you intend to translate the research that you're going to do or the study you are coming to do in that foreign institution, how you intend to translate it into practical after acquiring that knowledge. They don't expect you to just come and acquire knowledge and go back home to sleep. They expect that after acquiring this knowledge, you go home and this knowledge transforms you to become a better human, to transform your society, to transform those around you, to transform your career, and etc. To transform humanity in general. So not just you coming to just to gather knowledge and go back home. So that's what is expected from you in statement of purpose. Then the next item is Curriculum vitae is also referred to as CV and referred to as resume as well. Now, the European universities, they refer to it as a resume, while the US refer to it as curriculum vitae or CV. So whichever, the two mean the same thing. Now, you're not just going to push any CV that you just think as, as a CV to this institution. You put a CV that is more tailored towards your academics. That means your focus is towards your studies, what you've done as regard education, the research you've carried out, then a little bit about your career is what you intend to push out in this academic CV or academic resume. So that's what you push out. Your resume should contain your name, your address, your phone number, your email, then a little bit about your educational objective, but not too necessary. Then your education, that's your qualification, educational qualification. After such, you list about your job or your career, that's the places you've worked, the positions you held. And after such, you list your publications, that's if you have any, the awards and prizes that you've won, awards, prizes, honors, and medals that you've won. You list all of them. Then at the end, you request, you add that if there is need, your references, you can always what submit them. You don't add the references at the bottom of an academic CV. It is the reason we have a letter of recommendation or references or reference letter rather. So that's what an academic CV, that is what, those are the major things that it entails. Then the next item is what we call test scores or standardized test scores or proof of English language proficiency. But in most cases, I will just use the word standardized test scores. The reason why we say standardized test scores, it is not every country that renders or offer their education in English. For instance, some German universities offer their education in German language. So meaning that if you are going to that country, you will need to be able to speak or have a previous knowledge of the German language for you to be able to what? To study any university program or to take any formal education there successfully, or for you to be successful in any education there, any educational endeavor there, you must have to be vibrant or a good command of the German language. So you need a proof of German language proficiency, that you know how to speak the German language, you can write in the German language, you've been with it over a period of time and the rest of them. So that's another thing. So the reason I mentioned it as standardized test scores or certificate of language proficiency. Now, if it's an English nation or English speaking country that you are going for your postgraduate studies, I will suggest that you should take what we call either the IELTS, we have the TOEFL, we have the Cambridge English, then we have the PSFIN English language proficiency. But the most common ones are the TOEFL and the IELTS. These two are the most common English language proficiency test system that we have on the international or overseas study system. The two of them are the most recognized or the most sought after by foreign universities, especially if they want to validate or they want to prove that you are good in English language or you can speak English properly. They will request for such. However, Under this English language proficiency, some universities or some countries may request that if you have had your previous degree or your previous study taken in English language, you may not need to submit an English language test scores. So when situation like this happens, there are two options that such university may give to you. May give you an option that you should go to your university and request an English language proficiency from your university to send to them, or they will do a one-on-one, either a video interview or a telephone interview with you. It may be for a duration of 30 minutes, 15 minutes, or 1 hour. Now, why are they doing these two? They want to certify that you will not come there and be a burden to yourself and a burden to them by virtue of not being able to communicate in English language, which is the medium through which the education you are coming for, the learning you are coming for will be offered or it will be delivered. So that's the reason why they do this. Then the second one, they also want you that your coming there is not a waste of time or it's not becoming useless. So that's the reason why they do that telephone interview or video interview. They ask you a lot of questions, and if you're speaking, your speaking is fluent, especially your speaking, the way you respond to questions, the tone in which you use, the accent may not necessarily matter, then pronunciation. So those are the things that they look out for, and if you just scale through, you may not need the test scores anymore. So that's what is there for the standardized test scores or English language proficiency certification or English language proficiency test. Then the next item on our list is a sample of a message to be sent to a professor. Okay, now this is a two-way something. Some may need it, some may not need it, or some may need it while other categories may not need it. Now, why is it that I said that some may need it and others may not need it? Okay, this sample of message to send to a professor or a would-be supervisor is common with persons who are going for a research masters or a research studies, especially for the master's category. Now, a master's research is a research in which you have a few period of time that you will sit in classroom to be taught any concept or anything. You have more work to do with field research than sitting in the classroom. So, but with thought masters, you all of the thing that you are doing, you'll be sitting in the classroom. You take lectures, you write exams, you take lectures, you write exam. If it's 2 years course or if it's a 1 year course or 18 months course, this is how your studies will just follow in a taught master's program. But in a research master's course, it's not like that. It may just be the first 6 months that you take studies, then the remaining duration to maybe if it's 2 years, there's a duration of your program, or 18 months, the duration of your program. After the first 6 months, the next thing you go on with research and research and research and research and research, working with your supervisor. So it is on research masters. If you are going for a research masters, that's when you will need the contact message to send to your supervisor, indicating or telling him or her that you will request him to be your supervisor in your postgraduate studies or in your master studies. You specify your area of research or area of interest. If it aligns with his area of interest as well, and he's also available to supervise you, then he will reach back to you, okay, that okay, I'm interested in your research, and he just picks up your case in quotes. He picks up your case in quote from there, and your admission is now on the pathway. Then another item is form application form. So application form is just like you filling your name into the university's database, your name, date of birth, the institutions you attended, or even though you upload these items into the data, into the application system later, but you still need to fill them manually before you upload them at the completion of your application. So after filling that, the last but not the least is what we refer to as application fee, or it's like a mini payment that most universities, not all, but most universities, they request for an application fee, and it usually varies between maybe $50 to $200, or between 90 euro to maximum 200 euro. It just depends on the country, but it's not usually more than this it's not more than $200 or 200 euro, irrespective of the countries that you are applying to, the university, or the university is located at. It's not usually more than that amount. So that amount is just like a processing fee that the university uses in processing your application before they screen you. And mind you, this application fee is non-refundable. So meaning that if you do not scale through the admission, the money you paid as application fee won't be refunded to you. So you must also have to understand that. That's the reason why before you put in your application in an institution that will request you to pay admission application fee, you must have done a lot of work, and you are fully ready that it is that university or is that institution that you truly want to attend. So that's that about application fee and application form. So before we round up, let me just run through the list again. We have one, your passport or travel passport; two, your transcript; your standard, your recommendation letter; your personal statement; your motivation letter; your statement of purpose; your curriculum vitae or your CV; then your standardized test or proof of English language proficiency; and last, we have sample of contact message to be sent to a would-be supervisor. Your would-be supervisor is like your father or your mentor during the duration of your research studies, be it masters or PhD. He's like your mentor. He's the person that he's the one who will oversee everything you do during your research duration. Before anything gets to HOD, he will be the one to scan it left, right, and the rest of them. So then the last two items is application form and application fee. So with that, guys, we've wrapped up this section on important documents that is needed by every scholarship applicant and every international student. So guys, once again, like this video, subscribe to this channel, and I will see you in the next one. I am Moses.